I'm Greg Olick Sr. from Med-Acoustics in Atlanta. Med-Acoustics and Telacoustics are sister companies. Med-Acoustics serves Georgia and Alabama. Telacoustics serves Florida, with offices in Orlando and Tampa. Today I'd like to talk to you about some equipment that is appropriate for teleaudiology. In other words, remote audiology, where the audiologist is in one location and the patient may be in another, whether it's in the same office, another office, across town, or across the state, across the country. So let's begin. The first piece of equipment that I want to talk to you about is the VivoSonic Integrity Gen 2. This is the second generation of this product, and it's 2 channels instead of 1 channel, as the old system was, and it includes a different type of preamp. Instead of the amplitrode that they had in the past, the new preamp is called the VivoAmp, and I'll show it to you in the next slide. It uses ER2 insert receivers for high frequency ABR, beyond 4,000, even beyond 8,000. It is high performance. High performance means speed and noise immunity. Noise immunity is particularly important and allows you to go into electrically hostile environments where no other system can go and even perform ABRs on unsedated pediatric patients. This is the new VivoAmp that I was telling you about. As you can see, it is very compact, very easy to use, much easier than the amplitrodes that they had in the past, and yet it has that same type of noise immunity, immune to environmental noise as well as patient noise. And so you can take this system into places where conventional systems couldn't be used. It has the ultimate in noise immunity. This is simply a click threshold that I did on myself, and you can see that I very quickly can arrive at very clean waveforms with high morphology. Then my threshold only goes down to about 45 dB in some cases. I have a little bit of sensory neural hearing loss, and you can see when I got down the threshold, I wanted to see if it repeated. I simply called up my AB waveform that it does in the background, and there was no need to do a replication. This slide simply shows the norms that are available during the acquisition if you employ them, and you use them when you're marking waveforms just to help you identify where 1, 3, and 5 are, as you can see on this screen. It's a very useful, convenient feature. This is the new InterAcoustics Titan II. We call it a Titan II is because it is the second generation of InterAcoustics Titan. You can see that it has a completely new probe there. The new probe is very durable, and the system is very, very flexible. It can be used as a handheld, or it can be used as a PC-based. And it can do tympanometry, OAE, and even ABR infant hearing screening. And it can be any one of those or any combination of those. If you use it as a handheld, you can do all 3 tests: tympanometry, OAE, and infant hearing screening, ABR. And this is what they would look like on the high definition color screen that's on the handheld unit. And when you were done, whatever testing that you wanted to do, then you can simply hit one button and it will print instantly to a little wireless printer. Or you can put it back in the cradle, actually, and transfer it to the software. If you're going to do tympanometry on the computer, well, then this is what it would look like instead. And of course, if you had elected to do reflex thresholds at the same time, IPSI and or contra, it would go ahead and determine those automatically using the same method that you would manually, and you can even do reflex decay. And if you were doing OAE, Naturally, you can do DPOAE or TEOAE or both, and you can do screening if you want, or diagnostic. Naturally, 12 frequencies, DPOAE are no problem at all. And what do you get as a test result? Well, you can actually see the dp gram, of course. That shaded area is the noise, and you can see that the levels of the distortion product audioacoustic emissions are plotted. You also have to the right of that all of the numbers, the actual levels and the level of the noise, the signal to noise ratio. Everything is there for you. It makes a beautiful summary printout report. The biologic Scout Sport was a very popular PC-based OAE system, and the Biologic Navigator Pro is a very popular auditory evoked potential system. Both of these have been discontinued. They're no longer manufactured because the components are obsolete. So the products that we're talking about are excellent replacements for these two products, both the evoked potentials that we're talking about and the OAEs that we're talking about. And the next thing that I show you will be great as a replacement for the Scout Sport. The new InterAcoustics Lyra, Lyra, is an excellent replacement for a biologic Scout Sport because, like the Scout Sport, it is a PC-based OAE system. We call it an advanced high-performance OAE because it really does have a great speed and noise immunity. Most users are amazed the first time they see it, especially how much tolerance it has to patient noise because of its very fast sampling rate and its very tight digital filtering. It's PC based and PC powered, no separate power supply. It runs on the USB connection, can do DPOAE or TEOAE or both, and can do screening or diagnostic. Next, I'd like to talk to you about the InterAcoustics Eclipse EP25. That's an advanced two-channel clinical diagnostic AEP system. The reason why we're calling this the Eclipse advanced system is because it has a lot of new features which puts it in that category. Again, perfect for teleaudiology. I'll show you. Here are some of the features of the new InterAcoustics Eclipse auditory evoked potential system. It has latency norms available while you're marking the waveforms. It also does repetitions automatically, just like the VivoSonic product that I had showed you previously. But it also has broadband and narrowband CE chirps. This is excellent for people who are doing threshold work, frequency-specific threshold work. I'll show you some of that in a minute. It also has optional EMG monitor for cervical vents, so you can see just how much contraction of the sternocleidomastoid muscle the patient is applying. Very useful to get equal application left and right. It calculates the asymmetry ratio, of course, for vents when you have that option. And when you do ECOGs, it will not only give you the AP-SP amplitude ratio, but the SP-AP area ratio as well, which makes the test more sensitive. This is a result from a broadband CE chirp, and you can see the excellent wave 5 morphology all the way down to threshold. And here is a 4K narrowband CE chirp down to threshold. You can see the excellent morphology. Here's the 2K narrowband CE chirp, and you can see a very, very easily identifiable waveform all the way down to threshold. And most of these I've been able to collect with just 500 to 800 samples at high rep rate rather than 2,000 samples. The next piece of equipment that I want to talk to you about, which can be operated remotely, is the AudioScan Verifit. It's the Verifit II because it is the new generation of Verifit. This particular model is fully binaural, fully binaural in both the test box as well as the real ear measurement. It's broadband up to 16K. It's ideal for paired instruments, and it's office ready and faster than ever. The Verifit 2 has an excellent new feature, which is a probe placement guide. All you do is click on an icon and you get this graphic which shows you how far the probe tube is from the eardrum. And as you advance the probe tube, down the ear canal, you get this indicator which tells you how far you are from the eardrum. In this case, we're 15 millimeters from the eardrum, which isn't nearly close enough. And so we would continue to advance the probe tube down the ear canal. And when we get within 5 millimeters of the eardrum, then we get a sound indication, bing, and that green check mark, which means this is the ideal placement. And we can go ahead and put the receiver dome in the ear canal on top of the tube, or the ear mold, whatever we have. It's an excellent feature. Everybody who sees it absolutely loves it. It should have been there from the beginning. Again, this can be run remotely. It's all run with the mouse, and you can run it independently, but if it's running on the same network as your computer, you're able to control it remotely from your computer. Then you can do everything from there, and you can run that simultaneous with your fitting software, and it makes it very, very convenient. This is what the real ear measurement would look like. This is speech mapping, and we normally do soft speech, average speech, loud speech, and loud environmental noise, because we want to make soft speech audible. We want to make average speech comfortable. We want to make sure loud speech is also comfortable, and especially that loud environmental noises are below the patient's uncomfortable loudness. Here we are with two hearing aids actually mounted in the test box, and as you can see, we hardly ever use putty. There are two coupler microphones left and right, and the insert, the receivers, that receiver that's in the canal is just plugged into what we call a trick adapter, and you don't have to putty them. You almost never have to putty unless you have a custom earbud. Then there is software so that you can communicate with NOAA, and it's their NOAA Link software. So you can transfer the audiograms from NOAA to the Verifit, and then once you're done, you can transfer the test results, the curves, from the Verifit to NOAA, and from NOAA you can generate a nice printout report if you want. It becomes a session under that patient in NOAA. Next piece of equipment, again, ideal for teleaudiology to be operated remotely, would be the InterAcoustics Affinity Compact. Now this can be a diagnostic clinical audiometer. It can have also real ear measurement built into it. It can have any combination of features, but it is no larger than a medium-sized textbook. Okay. Several ways. This shows it mounted on a wall or underneath a shelf with the audiometer accessories hanging there, and so it is very compact and very complete and ideal for teleaudiology. Finally, this is the Grason-Stadler AMTAS. AMTAS stands for Automated Method of Testing Auditory Sensitivity. So it's a completely automatic audiometer. And there are two models, one that does pure tone only. As you can see in the example on the left, it is asking the patient, do you hear the tone? And they respond yes or no, and it proceeds and produces audiograms like you see on the right. There is also a clinical model that works in conjunction with a Grason-Stadler diagnostic audiometer like the Pello or the AudioStar Pro, and that can do air, bone, with masking, as well as SRT and the scrim. So you have a completely automatic test, useful in many situations. In this last slide, you can see one of our very typical teleaudiology solutions. We call it the remote audiology system. And you can see there that we have two monitors, one so that the patient and the audiology who's operating remotely can see one another and communicate. The audiologist can also communicate with the assistant. And on the other monitor, you see the application that's being used. In this case, we're using an InterAcoustics Affinity compact audiometer and real ear measurement system. And I don't know if you can see it or not, but there is a video otoscope on the counter as well, and a little speaker. Audiologist communicates with the assistant and gives instructions to the patient, and then the patient turns around and the test proceeds. So I hope we've given you some good ideas for teleaudiology solutions that you might need. If we've learned anything from the coronavirus, it's the need for teleaudiology. And don't forget to visit our virtual exhibit. There you can see some of this equipment and get some more ideas, more solutions. Enjoy the rest of the conference.